This episode contains conversations surrounding depression, suicidal thoughts. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, and welcome to this season of Alter Ego. We are starting season 1 with the topic of addiction in Butler County. Conversations on the physical side of addiction, trauma, the neuroscience, mental health, and stigma surrounding addiction. Experts, resources, and stories from people who have fought addiction head-on. I am your host, Laura Krigo. Let's keep the conversation going. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. For a long time, I suffered with depression and anxiety. I had tried therapy before, but struggled finding a therapist I connected with until I found BetterHelp. That's why I am so excited to share BetterHelp's mission to make therapy more affordable and more accessible, because finding a therapist can be hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online. Remote therapy sessions, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. Click the link in description and receive 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. And by clicking that link, you support this channel. Plus, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. I was struggling for a long time, and BetterHelp was where I found my therapist, Whitney, who I still see weekly for almost 2 years now. So, if you're struggling like I was, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in description or go to betterhelp.com/alterego. That's betterhelp.com/alterego. There's no better time than now to start your mental health journey. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. I sat down with Jessica Burr, Clinical Director of Reach and Rise at the Butler County YMCA, and a very special guest, 15-year-old Issiac, who, like so many, come from a broken home of domestic abuse, neglected parents struggling with drug use. Now to our episode. All right, well, welcome. Episode 4 of Alter Ego. Today I am sitting down with Jess Burr, the Clinical Director of the Butler YMCA Reach and Rise program, and Issiac, a 15-year-old ninth grade at Karns City High School. Happy Saturday. How are we feeling today?
Feeling great. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, ready to rock.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Issiac is really excited to be on the podcast today because he is a podcast listener. So this is something you've always wanted to do, right? Is to be on a podcast. So you bucket list, check it off. Okay, awesome. So first, talk to Jess a little bit here. Jess and I met a few weeks ago. Well, gosh, I guess we could say last year, right?
Technically, yeah.
Technically it was. Does that ever bother you when someone's like, see you next year, right around New Year's?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, right? You're like, what? You mean tomorrow? Okay. Anyways, sorry. Don't want to get off topic. So Jess, tell me a little bit more about your background before Reach and Rise.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have always been one of those natural helping people. When I was a kid, I can remember a favorite cousin of mine that was always that kid that got in trouble, that was in and out of detention, suspension, eventually juvenile detention centers and things like that. And I remember he was 5 years younger than me, and I was always like, why can't you be good? You know, I want to help you and all of that. And he eventually went into jail and just has been, having issues ever since. And so I always see that as the reason that I went into the psychology field. I always wanted to find out how to help people who were struggling with whatever issues they were having, whether that was mental health issues, whether that was legal issues, all different kinds of things. And so I went into the field of psychology and got a degree and then started working in the field. I've worked for over 20 years with kids and adults that struggle with mental health issues, that struggle with, I've worked with kids who have autism diagnoses. I've worked with adults with schizophrenia diagnoses, and I've loved the work that I've done because I just find it so fulfilling, and to be able to help people to find something that's going to help them and to be able to better themselves. And I, fast forward to 2021. After the pandemic, I was looking for a job where I could help people still, but be able to manage my own mental health and not have a extremely stressful position. And so the position at the YMCA with the Reach and Rise program was, on LinkedIn or one of those job sites. And I applied for it and was very excited that I was going to be able to help kids in a way that was a preventative measure rather than reactive, which was a lot of the things that I had done in my career. And I have absolutely loved every minute of working in that program.
I mean, working with kids can be so rewarding, right? Because we've been through that. We've been through like the adolescent ages, and it's like if I could tell my younger self,
Yes.
right? So the ages that you work with at Reach and Rise, talk a little bit about that and how that is.
So the ages that we work with at Reach and Rise are 6 to 17. So Reach and Rise is a national program that started out in California about 30 years ago, I want to say. Now, the Butler YMCA got into it about 4 years ago. And we work with kids to help them to, what they say, bring them from risk to resiliency. And in that program, we provide them with, different skills that we want them to learn and to be able to take out into the world with them. Social skills, relationship building, managing their emotions, and just, being able to talk in a group of people and those types of things. And it has been, a great program that we've had. And we're hoping to continue expanding that into the schools, which we've been able to do pretty successfully.
Awesome. And you do have a mentoring program through that, don't you?
So the mentors are the people that make it, that make it run. So we are always looking for volunteer mentors that are able to, for our group program. We are always looking for 2 mentors who we train, 15 hours of training. We run clearances. We, make sure that they have their mandated reporting and all of that. And they run a group of 6 to 8 kids where they work on a curriculum for 14 to 16 weeks with these kids. And I mentioned before about the different skills that we work with kids on, because depending upon what they're coming in with, those are the kind of skills that we're using. So we try to match a group of kids similarly aged with the same things that they're looking to learn so that we're able to work on those things. And during that group, the kids not only learn from the mentors, but they're also learning from each other, and they're also helping out each other as well. So they're building these relationships and just learning a lot of different things. Yeah, so our mentors are what keep us going in that program.
So if you are looking for something and this feels like it might be in your wheelhouse, you should contact Jess Burr at Reach and Rise at the YMCA in Butler and, see what it's all about. I love that. I love that you have that. And when we're talking about, these kids that are coming into this program, like we're going to get into Isaac and, particular what brought him into Reach and Rise, but what's bringing these kids in? Like, what are the topics that we're talking about?
Yeah. So in the referrals that we get, so we get referrals from schools, we get them from counselors, we get them from parents, and ultimately what parents are looking for and what, the different referral sources are looking for is for, kids who may be struggling with social skills, may be struggling with, being able to communicate their needs, being able to manage their emotions. A lot of kids that we get into group are struggling with anger, are struggling with anxiety, depression, and and a lot of kids are struggling with ADHD as well, and just finding the skills to be able to manage those, the different things that come from struggling with those things. And so those are the things, because we're an evidence-based program, we are able to, look at these types of things, find, we have a curriculum that we work with the kids on, and then we're able to, produce data saying, yes, once these kids come into group, they are able to learn these skills and leave different than what they came in.
Awesome. I love that. So you have GAP program, and then you have the one-on-one program. Just give us a little bit of what those are. And
yeah, so we consider this both programs GAP programs because we are filling that gap. Right now, there is a struggle with kids getting into counseling programs and things like that, and we are trying to keep kids from going into juvenile detention and things like that. So with our one-to-one program, we were asked about that by the National Reach and Rise out of San Francisco. We were asked this in late 2022 if we were interested in taking this on. And after, a lot of discussion and looking into it, we said, yes, this is absolutely great, because with our group mentoring program, it is a shorter term program. It is 14 to 16 weeks. And there are some kids that leave the program that need a little bit more, that need a little more of a one-to-one relationship and to be able to work on some goals individually. And so when we were approached,
yeah.
When we were approached
Words.
Yes, exactly. When we were approached about this, I was very excited about it. And so we actually started this in May of 2023. And what this is, as I mentioned, one child, one mentor paired up for an entire year. They meet at the YMCA, whether that's the Rose E. Schneider YMCA or the Butler YMCA. And they are able to do all kinds of different activities. They're able to take a class together. They're able to exercise together, play basketball, do a craft, play a game. It's very open to whatever they want to do, but they're also working with their mentor on specific goals, like improving family relationships, managing emotions, using I statements, expressing their needs, all different kinds of things. We can also, if kids are struggling with school, they're able to work with their mentor on homework, study skills, keeping them from being truant, those types of things. And so it's been a great program. We actually have 2 matches that have been going on for about one has been going on for 3 months. One has been going on for 4 months, and we're really excited. The kids are enjoying it. The mentors are enjoying it. And we actually have, we're set to have 5 total matches by the end of January. And then we have another training that's coming up in February, and we'll have 4 more mentors trained by then.
That's fantastic. I love that that's happening and that you all really decided to say yes to that, because I know I think back to, I lost my dad at 14 and realizing as an adult that I needed something like that. I mean, obviously I'm in therapy now dealing with a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So to know that that resource is out there for young people and that they know that that's normal, right?
Yes, absolutely.
To talk about their feelings and work through them and understand them and then move past them is really remarkable.
Absolutely.
I'm Joe Mahoney, Executive Director at the Ellen O'Brien Geyser Center, and it's time for another mental health light bulb moment. Our environment plays a crucial role in developing certain illnesses, especially mental health diagnoses. Chronic stress, trauma, and exposure to illicit substances can permanently alter certain genetic expression, causing changes to our chemistry and ultimately our behaviors. However, positive changes in our environment can also cause positive changes to our circuitry, So it is important to seek help if you're experiencing chronic stress and have been a victim of trauma.
So let's talk about Isaac now. I would love to just kind of hear, and it can be either one of you when you met. You met through Reach and Rise, and I know that when you came in, someone else had been in your position, so there was a little bit of that crossover, right?
Yes.
So whoever, we'll start there. Do you want to talk about how you guys met, and then pick his brain a little bit?
Sure. So I came into the program in August of 2021. Isaac was currently in group at that time, and he was actually in a very tightly knit teen group that had been going on for a while with two of the same mentors. And that's where we met, was when he was currently in group.
Yeah, I met before her. I met Kate, and when I came to the group for the YMCA, it was really new actually. And I found a lot of people that came, and I found friends. Then when I met her, it was exciting but a little scary, because one of the things that we were getting taught is how to trust new people. And a lot of us were getting a little skittish around the new person, because we knew when a new person came in, it was scary, because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And we started to grow a lot together, and we would talk about stuff because we need to. We just need to talk and everything.
Mm-hmm. You're right. All right, Isaac. So I want to know, and I think our audience wants to know a little bit more about you. I mean, you're 15. You're very well spoken. So I'd like to know, tell me a little bit about yourself, your age, hobbies, fun fact.
I like watching podcasts, and one of the people I like to watch is Dr. Mike, a famous YouTuber and podcast person. And I love hunting and fishing. They're my favorite things to do. And I love studying antique cars.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And the first Mustang was created in 1964.
Nice.
And love playing chess, gaming, collecting coins, and collecting Pokemon.
Pokemon cards. Awesome. Chess, I have to ask you. I've always wanted to learn how to play chess. Can you teach an old dog new tricks?
There's really not many new tricks. We use a lot of the ancient moves that they've used for hundreds of years, and
Could I learn though? Do you think I could learn?
Anyone could learn.
Okay.
It's easy, but you just learn every time about new moves and everything.
Okay. All right. So Reach and Rise, you joined when you were 13, right?
Yeah.
I want you to talk a little bit more about that program for you and how today it still continues to help you.
When I joined Reach and Rise, I was coming to the YMCA because I wanted to bodybuild and everything. And when we were on the pamphlet wall, because we like to explore stuff and everything, and we saw Reach and Rise, and we were curious about we read it, and a week later, we're like, we should try it, see how it goes. When I came in, all the kids were so nice. The mentors, I was really close with one mentor. He was so nice. I met his children. We had similar interests in everything. And a lot of the kids, they were going through a lot of the same problems I was going through, like not being accepted for who you are, getting bullied just because of the way you act. And that's just the way different people act. And parents just pushing you to a side like you're nothing and everything, and getting kicked to the roadside just because no one doesn't understand you and no one doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, you made a really good point there, that people just don't understand when someone's different, right? And they're not having the conversation. So it's a really great point. So you moved a lot. Now you live with your grandparents. Tell us, really get into that, the catalyst for you moving and then now living with your grandparents.
My mom got married to our stepfather, and then she cheated on him with another man. And a few months later, she said, well, we're going to pick up and go move somewhere else now. And we were like, well, where are we going to go? And she's like, I have a friend. And we went 4 hours out east to Ashland, which is towards Harrisburg. And at first it was nice. Like she was trying to sell us and we got spoiled a little. Then it started like 2 or 3 weeks later. It just started to go downhill. We started getting yelled at for stuff we didn't do. We got abused. If we did anything wrong, it was the result of getting slapped across the face. And a lot of times her boyfriend would do it, and it was horrible because he was a very tall and strong person. So if he hit us hard enough, we would start bleeding from the lip. And whoever stays in the house stays in the house. You don't tell anyone or you got in serious trouble. And that was the scary part because that's how my complex PTSD occurred, because I was never allowed to tell anyone. And I was in for myself. I had to survive. We barely got any food. They would always eat all the food. We got forced to eat food that we didn't like and everything. My mom barely cooked. And we had to make a lot of our own stuff and teach ourselves stuff that a lot of adults are supposed to teach themselves as they get older.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, that's really a tough situation, and thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that's not easy to talk about, but I'm sure it's something maybe you learned in Reach and Rise that can be therapeutic, right, to talk about it. So when we're talking about all of those situations, what, other than the groups and talking, what else about Reach and Rise helped you with that? What helped you get through all of those memories and what that did to you?
A lot of the mentors, before they start even talking about you with that stuff, they like you to get comfortable with them. Like, they share their own stories. Like, the one mentor we had, she traveled around the world to different places and everything. And our mentor talked about carpentry. The other one talked about cars. They try to get us comfortable and familiar that we are safe and we won't hurt you. You could talk about anything to us. And when we started talking and everything, it was weird because we've never said anything out loud. And they told us, it's all right. You are in a safe space. No one's going to hurt you here. No one is going to talk you out from doing any of this. And you'll never have to be in that environment again, hopefully. And a lot of them, we just started coming together and building stuff, putting clay together, making our own stuff, building Legos, playing instruments, and talking through these therapy sessions that we had. And they were helping us getting through problems through instruments and all that, going outside. Sometimes a lot of the kids didn't get along. They disagreed sometimes. But then we got back together and we worked our problems through that. They taught us how to problem solve, help one another, and care for one another. I deeply loved being there. It was amazing, and I loved it.
That's wonderful. So when you talk about PTSD, and thank you for doing that. Thank you for talking about that, because this is something that I think a lot of young people are realizing about themselves and might be scared to talk about it. So hopefully you will inspire someone. So when we're talking about that and your struggles with that, your experience, what kind of coping mechanisms help you with that?
Well, a lot of times I would go to the YMCA, play racquetball and everything. It was a really good stress reliever. Listen to music. That was one of the main things I got taught through a therapist, saying, you got PTSD, anxiety, or anything, listen to music. It will help you. It will soothe everything. When I'm in high school, I have to wear headphones because if the noise keeps coming and coming, it just traumatics and makes me go into a mental breakdown kind of. Mm-hmm. And I got headphones so I could listen to music and block out all the sound and everything.
And with that, right, you've had struggles with that in itself.
Yeah. I had struggles there because transitioning to a new school, I originally came from a very small Catholic school. And in our Catholic school, it was strict and it was ordered. And you didn't do a lot of stuff public school kids do. And then I came in and I saw how much bullying, everything that I saw was all wrong. Loud noises, kids bothering me, stealing my stuff, and bothering me during my work. And it was hard. So a lot of times I would go to the school counselor and everything, and they told me, we could help you here. We could solve what you need, and we could help out.
That's great. And therapy, you said, is something that really helped you too, finding someone you're comfortable talking to And they can explain a lot of situations. And I had to learn this. I had a professor in college tell me this once with a situation with a roommate. She said, this has nothing to do with you and everything to do with her, the words she was saying to me. And that can be hard sometimes, right? Because a lot of times we have these situations and we have all these people around us that are supporting us and loving us and, lifting us up. But then there's that one person that does something negative to us, and that's all we can focus on, right? So it's like working through that, right? And letting that go. So that's good that you're doing the work. So anyone who might be dealing with not being accepted for who they are or bullying, what would you tell them?
I tell them they're not alone. There's always someone here. Tell someone if someone's bullying you. I had lots of friends that were either gay or transgender, and they always come and ask me, what can I do to stop bullying? I'm like, I can help you, but I cannot build your road for you. I cannot set it up for you. You have to begin that progress yourself. I can only tell you what you could do. And they started doing it, and they were succeeding in everything, and I was happy for them.
Build your road for you. That's good. You need to write that down and patent that. That's your quote. Use that in a TED Talk someday. I'm going to add that to this last question that we will get to. So share a little bit about the things that you're doing now that has helped you in your healing journey. So obviously your experience at the Reach and Rise program, love and support of your friends and family, to cope and gain confidence, but other things that you do as well that we talked a little bit about.
A lot of the other things I do, like I have stress toys. I play with a deck of cards. I talk to friends, and because that really helps if you talk to friends.
Mm-hmm.
They help you, that like, and at one point in when I went to high school, and I'm still am, that at the point I was just at a breaking point. I wanted to commit suicide. And I already been through that multiple times. Like, I'm a known survivor and had to be stopped, or I just couldn't do it because it's way too hard to make a decision like that. And when I told them, they're like, you need to go to a guidance office. You need to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And I went and I started talking, man. They're like, we could help. And I started talking to my therapist and everything, and she's like, we could do something about this. The more I started talking about it, the more less I wanted to do it, the more I didn't want to actually have to kill myself. And for a lot of people, they just see that today as a solution because, today's world is not so good. But I tell people, don't. It is a horrible decision because there are some good in life, and you don't want to miss out on the fun that you'll have.
That's a good point. The fun that you're going to have. I think it's like you've got to go through the rain to get to the rainbow.
Yeah.
Right? So, you talk a little bit about that you're a volunteer at your church, you sing in the choir. What are some of the other things you've done? I know you've spoken at some fundraisers. Do you want to talk about maybe one of the events that you spoke at?
I spoke at the Butler golf outing, the Butler Country Club, as everyone calls it, and it was amazing. I got a standing applause. I got invited, and they were like, do you want to try? I'm like, yes. Because I did the readings at my church and everything, so I'm like, I'm used to standing in front of crowds. Just get out of my comfort zone. That's why I got taught retries. Push yourself out and see what you can do. And when I did it, I was really nervous. It was scary to see a lot of people, but when my speech inspired a lot of people to stand up and start clapping, it made me really happy that it hit a lot of people to start doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? Standing ovation. That's not easy to get. I have a theater degree. That's not easy. They don't always give you a standing ovation. So good for you. So I did ask you 3 words to describe what Reach and Rise gave you and how that is something that you will carry with you into your future. So
I would say the 3 words I describe it is trust, confidence, and coping and mentoring. That's why I would give it, because they give you such a strong bond that you could conquer the world if you put your mind to it. You could do whatever you need to do, but you always have them on your back. You always have their help that they give you. The advice that Reach and Rise will give you is the most helpful thing that you'll ever have. That no one can ever hit you down. You'll always be there.
Mm-hmm. That you're not alone. That's a big message that you give. And these are great tools for you to have throughout your whole life, right? Because these are things you're going to have to tap into as an adult. For sure. Jess and I can tell you, as an adult, you will have to, you will come across people who are always going to challenge you and try to make you feel lesser than. So it is up to you, right, to be the one to realize that they don't have that power over you, right? It's like no one gets the power over you. You're the conductor. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. So plans after high school, other than being a public speaker and motivational speaker and having a TED Talk. Sorry, I just added that to your list.
I plan on going to BC3 for computer software engineering.
Very cool. What do you want to do with that? We talked about that.
I'm gonna go vote tech and everything. Get college points. After BC3 goes Slippery Rock, and hopefully go get a job somewhere. Maybe even work for the FBI in Pittsburgh.
Anything else that you want to share with us? Do you want to?
I'd say to kids and adults, like I said before, you are not alone. If you are in a very dark place, you could be pulled out of it. You have to just grab the floaty. Just like a lifeguard in a swimming pool, my therapist told me that we can't push it towards you. You have to grab it and pull yourself out and strive towards being a victorious person in life.
Yeah, I love that. Grab the floaty. Jess, taking care of yourself, with working with these kids, having kids of your own, but working with children and hearing these stories, and they're coming in and they're, Isaac shared, his wanting to take his own life, like imagining the weight of that in what you do. What do you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah. So it took me a long time to figure out that I needed to do things for myself, being in the field. And I got smart about, I would say 5 years ago, where I started to realize the things that I'm telling people I need to be doing myself. So I need to be taking time for myself, going out in nature, journaling, seeing a therapist, and spending time with my family. And exercise is another thing. I love yoga, breath work, and all kinds of things like that. And so it took me a long time to be good to myself while I was also helping other people. And I'm glad that I finally realized that I can't pour from an empty cup, as they say.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
And I feel like I've been a lot more effective in the years since I started to realize that.
Of course. If you could say anything to anyone who is thinking of getting into your field, your line of work, you're always smiling when I talk to you too, by the way. She's always you have a really good, happy, sort of just calm as well as Isaac, but just a really good, happy aura about you, Thank you. I just wanted to put that out there. So, and obviously you're doing the work, right? You're taking care of yourself. But if someone that's thinking about getting into this, I don't know, any advice, any thoughts, any?
Yeah, definitely, be good to yourself whenever you are helping other people, but that this is the most fulfilling, role that I've ever had, being able to help people, being able to be a support to other people. It is amazing. I can't imagine doing anything else in my career. It was funny that, when I said I'm going into psychology, people were like, that's not a great field to get into, but I can't imagine doing anything else other than helping people. And so I tell people to go for it, but be good to yourself while you're being a support to other people.
Yes, be good to yourself. I love that. Well, I think that's it. Unless anyone has anything else they want to say, anything popped into your brain that you want to share?
No, I'm all good.
You're good? You're good? Yeah.
I just want to share that, if people are interested in becoming mentors, we are currently doing training for group mentors at the Butler YMCA. And then we will also be doing a one-to-one mentor training February 21st, February 28th, and March 6th from 5:30 to 8:30 at the Butler YMCA. We are always looking for supportive, caring adults to work with the kids that we are getting referrals for in Butler County. We're also always taking applications for, kids to come into the program as well. And I just want to share that it is a very fulfilling, helpful program that we have for kids that need some additional support in their lives in Butler County.
I'd like to say one last thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you, Miss Burr, and you for allowing me to be on this podcast. It was really amazing and talk about every situation I got to talk about. So then people know to come to Reach and Rise and see how great these people are and how great this podcast can actually help kids and adults.
Thank you. That's so nice of you. And thank you both so much for coming here today. So be sure to check the caption. The links to all of these programs, how you can get in touch with Jess and everything will be on there. I will also have a link to the YMCA so you can look at other programs they do have available at the YMCA. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Butler County District Attorney Richard A. Golden, R.W. McDonald & Sons Incorporated, Robert Stevens Jewelers. Thank you to our sponsors for your support on our first season of the Alter Ego podcast. Be sure to click the link in bio for your discount for BetterHelp Therapy online, 10% off your first month. Join me next Monday as I sit down with Rebecca and Tawny, who share their stories of addiction, recovery, AA, therapy, and rehab. Thank you for tuning in to Alter Ego. Join me every Monday and Wednesday for new episodes. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode and follow us on Instagram at Alter Ego Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, stay kind.